All right. Okay, now we're live recording. All right, good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. Andrew's couldn't make it, so I will be providing this morning. First item on the agenda is a review of the minutes from the board meeting of May 19th. I would entertain a motion.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor of approving the minutes?
Aye.
Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is report of the executive staff.
Sure, I think we're gonna jump right into some updates with respect to state funding initiatives. So Peggy's gonna take that for us.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to provide an update about the 2026 consolidated funding application, which is the RADC's, the Regional Economic Development Council's regional push for economic development related funding. There's 20 plus programs from over 8 participating state agencies this year. Additionally, it'll be the second round of the Achieve competition with 150 million for those high impact regional initiatives. Additional funding that was allocated this year during the 2027 budget was 50 million for Restore New York and 200 million for the DRI and New York Forward, which are other economic development and revitalization programs. Capitalize Albany for part of the local process and some technical support. We are serving as the local coordinator, working in close coordination with the city of Albany to provide information for potential applicants who are interested in applying for any of those funds. We've hosted, or we will be hosting 3 workshops. We had our first one last Tuesday, and then we have one again this afternoon, giving the opportunity for those applicants to connect and talk through their projects with us, but as well as ESD. So we have them there providing some also information about the process this year. Additionally, with the support or with coordination of the city, we are offering the opportunity for letters of support from Capitalize Albany and from the mayor's office on behalf of the city. We also, for applications that do require it, we will be facilitating resolutions through the Common Council, which will happen at the end of the month or next month. If applicants are interested in participating or interested in receiving a letter of support or a resolution, they do need to fill out a project intake form, which will be due on June 25th. That can be found on our website. It is a SurveyMonkey form, but it provides the opportunity for us to get a really good information and use the criteria that you see listed to kind of go through those projects and see what sort of support we can provide. We will, as I said, be at the Common Council to vote on the resolutions for any of those applications that do require. So I believe that's okay. Any questions?
And I think along the lines of Restore New York, if Haley hasn't said it, we did want to take a look at available sites and used buildings. I've been talking to some of the board members about that, and being able to work with the city on potential grant applications for that funding source. Or ecstatic to see that funding source come back. It's been a couple of years that there's been a pause on that. So we're really great to have that incredible resource back. And then downtown revitalization initiative too is another amazing opportunity. We may have already said it. We're hearing interest in having a city of Albany application again this year. So we just have to evaluate those options with the city leadership about what zone to focus on for that target area and being able to help with that application.
Is that it for the assessment staff report?
Okay.
Okay, next we're on to the report of the Liberty Park Committee as update.
So, we're gonna keep this pretty high level, given
Do I-
that,
Do I have to go?
not just yet, we're just gonna keep it simple, top level. You know, I think in terms of schedule, you all are aware, we issued an addendum, we received responses to the addendum, and we've been working through the process, evaluating those through the review committee and the Liberty Park Committee. We had a recent Liberty Park Committee, I believe it was last week. So being able to brief the committee members on those proposals, and be able to proceed through that process. So we are rapidly moving through our process while also maintaining the integrity and the intense review that is expected of a site and a property of this incredible potential.
So not getting into the substance, but do we have a timeline?
We do, I think what we have shared publicly so far is the goal to make a decision by the end of the third quarter.
All right. And the next item is resolution 5025-2026.
Yeah, so I think I would introduce the resolution first. As you all know, we have been working on for the past several months, some preparation for stabilization activities related to building 3 at 3 at Liberty Park. We have been engaging with Beardsley Architects and Engineers on how to stabilize 2 columns that are in need of structural reinforcement. We most recently had engaged with a contractor to do some selective demolition around those columns so that the stabilization contractor could see what they're really looking at and what they're getting into. When we arrived on the site on May 26th for that contractor to engage on that process, corporation staff discovered that one of the columns had fully failed. So you'll see that noting sort of the resolution will lay out some of those items. And what we have been working with since that time has been with our engineering team, the evaluation of alternatives, really assessing the building's condition in its entirety and being able to evaluate what needs to happen in terms of remaining stabilization. So as I said, that column has fully failed and there's a limited area of collapse around that column, approximately 6,000 square feet, noting that it's about a 73,000 square foot building. So like I said, a limited portion. In reviewing the option with Beardsley Architects and Engineers, we evaluated we tried to evaluate options to look at how we could minimize demolition needs all the way up to whether a full demolition is necessary. At this time, a full demolition is not the preferred option. The preferred option is that 6,000 square feet of controlled demolition along with stabilization of the remaining column that had structurally failed. So we have a resolution before you 5/2026. We have pursued Jackson Demolition Service. They have provided a quote that would engage them for that controlled limited demolition, as well as the stabilization, the shoring of the second column. You'll see that identified here in the resolution. With a lump sum contract price of $225,000. And the resolution from the board would be empowering me as the president or any other officers so designated by the president to direct and execute a contract with Jackson Demolition in accordance with the proposal as in such of their terms and conditions as the officers deem necessary or appropriate, and take all such further actions and execute all such further documents that may be necessary or desirable to carry out the purposes and intent of the foregoing. So we will report out at the next regularly scheduled meeting, the status of that emergency procurement and the actions taken pursuant to these resolutions. So I think the one thing I did not state was, basically, we're doing this under the emergency procurement section of our procurement policy. But when the procurement value exceeds 100,000, it does require either written authorization of the board and or our board resolution, so. That's why we're writing this before you today.
And given the partial collapse, I mean, it is a safety issue. This is a time sensitive.
It is a time sensitive, safety issue. What I will say is, thankfully, our building in this section of the building abuts our privately owned parking lot. We have fencing around that property. We added additional fencing that's higher, and locked. So we are maintaining that secure site to the extent we can. But yes,
And it's
it
unoccupied.
is a failure that we should remedy as soon as possible. The goal here, we have the building permit submitted. We will need that reviewed and to submit any additional documentation necessary. There is a US EPA notice that needed to be filed. Jackson Demolition will be filing that if they haven't already, related to asbestos containing materials. And then, if we receive this authorization today, we would proceed as soon as practical in terms of mobilization and to remedy this situation.
I would entertain a motion and then we can have some discussion prior to the vote. I don't think anyone willing to make a motion.
No. So moved.
Second, can I have a second? Sheila? All right, so any discussion, questions?
I would love, I'm sorry to ask, but I would love the rationale for keeping it on respirator. So is the cost of demolition that high?
So
Was it a cost issue? Was it a historic building issue? What's the issue that suggests that we do this, given our experience in this area so far?
given the active procurement, how much of this conversation should happen?
I think we could talk without specificity to any of the proposals.
Okay.
So I think we could have a general discussion about it. The answer to the historic piece is yes, there is a historic building issue associated with this.
It is in a historic district,
Yeah.
it is not an individually, named, it's on a historic district. Both for downtown historic districts, so local historic district, and national historic district.
If that's the issue, then I'm good. I mean, if that's what we're doing, then I'm.
Yes.
I'm
There is
good.
a cost factor as well, it is significant.
We'll keep adding up along the way. So when we're all done, that cost factor just keeps getting bigger, but if the fact is that this is the historic building that we're trying to keep. Or maybe whoever ultimately owns it wants to keep open, and I was on the dollar and cent side of this, as opposed to them.
Any other questions, discussion?
Yes, I'm just curious, what is the level of confidence of the engineering group that this fix buys us enough time to get to a finish line? Is there like a secondary issue that we're not dealing with, but this is gonna buy us enough time to get this down the road a little bit more?
So the positive thing is that the Jackson demolition scope does include the stabilization of that second column. So those are the only, at present time, those are the only two columns that we are aware of that have structural integrity issues. This property had been reviewed previously by Stantec Engineering. It has also been reviewed by Beardsley over the past year. So those are the only known issues. What I will say is, we do also have to button up the building once this is taking place, so that we can ensure that we limit infiltration, water, everything moving forward. So provided all of those things happen, that's the position we're at.
And Richard, we walked the building with two different demolition outfits, both of which fully agree with Pearson's approach to this selective demolition. However, one of the demolition outfits timing was gonna be an issue, so that was why they did not want to move forward, not because they disagreed with anything being proposed or evaluated.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Hearing no, the motion is on the table. All in favor of adopting resolution 5-2026? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none. Motion carries. Brett, other business.
Unless, Andy or everybody else has anything that I missed. That was the main agenda for today. I think we wanted to. Get through the urgent order of business and be able to take on that scope of work and get it done. So I appreciate your time and some. Action today.
Right, are we going to have executive session? Does anyone wish to have executive session?
I always favor having an executive session just out of form.
Okay.
Just,
All right, I guess, should we adjourn? No, we'll move into executive session, so.
Would this be for advice of counsel?
no, just normal, it's board only executive session.
Right, to discuss
And
real estate matters.
yeah, we have to identify grounds to go to the executive session.
Nothing.
Okay.
In most boards that I'm on, as a matter of form, you're going to a board only executive session at the end of the meeting, but I understand what we're dealing with, so I'm good. I have nothing actually to discuss. It's a form issue. Okay.
Anyone else wanna? I guess then. I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So move.
That's Sheila and Tony, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned.